2.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Hey, Stick.
Hey, what up, brother?
What's going on?
This is our first full-length show together.
I know.
I believe.
What a moment.
in the history of mankind.
We played multiple softball games together.
That is true.
Maybe triple digits. But this is our first time on the desk together, man.
Yeah, well, thanks for letting me fill in on the show today. I know Terry Foster and Sean Belizean are not here. They're off doing Terry Foster and Sean Belizean things, which would mean Sean's probably smoking some meat, and Terry's probably getting his meat smoked.
Yeah. It sounds like those two. It sounds like a Memorial Day well spent.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we're here.
That is why we're here.
Appreciate our freedoms.
That's why they're not here. This is the Lions Weekly Update. My name is Matt Broder. Sitting next to me, like we just introduced, Stick.
Yeah.
Sam Sick Day. How you doing? Good morning, and good morning to everybody.
Yeah, I'm doing great, man. Excited about this Lions season coming up. Love the haters, love the doubters, love the new schedule coming out, love the Bears talking trash like they don't do this every single offseason. And, I hate to say it, I'm beginning to like Aaron Rodgers a little bit because of all the trash he's talking about the Bears.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, this is coming out of your mouth?
Yeah, the biggest Aaron Rodgers hater. But, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah, so things have changed.
Well, and he's not in the league anymore, so I don't give a damn what Aaron Rodgers does.
Do you think he's going to be in the league at some point this season?
No.
Who knows?
No one wants that headache.
And you remind the audience again, you never had to wear an Aaron Rodgers jersey every day for an entire year because you want to bet with the Pat McAfee show?
Can you say I won it if they never paid?
No, you can't.
So I made a bet.
You made a bet.
Yeah. But I didn't win it.
I
mean, they never showed up.
They got corporate on us.
That's my philosophy. That's what I think happened because shortly after they signed with ESPN, and then they couldn't do their normal public appearances anymore. Everything's restricted. Everything's ESPN. Whatever. Either way, I don't care because the Lions won that game, and that's all that mattered to me.
That was the goal.
Yeah, I don't care. I got what I wanted.
Yeah. No, and a lot of people around Detroit got what they wanted to.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
It was keeping Aaron Rodgers out of the playoffs.
Yeah, and I didn't want to see you wear that jersey every single day, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, well, thank you, Kirby Joseph, for absolutely sunning him in that game. And,
yes.
Oh, God, what a beautiful thing.
We're going to be talking about
and
Kirby
Joseph. That was our first live basement watch party here at Woodward Sports, too. It was in my basement in Southfield.
Week 18 against the Packers, that last game of the season, the Seahawks had just knocked out the Lions from playoff contention. They went and got the dub. And
that was kind of like the signal of what Dan Campbell's going to bring yearly, right? Is it doesn't matter if we're knocked out of the playoffs. They didn't care. They went into Green Bay on a cold night. Aaron Rodgers, the mystic of the tundra, and they put belt to ass. And literally, that was the last time we saw Aaron Rodgers put on a Packers uniform.
Yeah.
And then off into the sunset, he goes to New York, tears his Achilles. Boom, we've seen Aaron Rodgers just not be great.
Yeah.
And, it's tough to see your heroes fall.
I know.
But it isn't when he ain't your hero and the guy sucks.
Exactly. And the Lions have just continued to ascend since that moment.
But what he was saying about the Bears is he was like, listen, every offseason the Bears talk about beating the Packers. You already see Ben Johnson. And he took a shot at the Lions, but I thought it was a funny shot. He's like, oh, you got a guy from the Lions and now you're going to beat us?
Yeah, right.
He's like, but the Packers don't give a damn about you. And, I can understand that mindset.
They don't. And I think too many people are giving a crap about the Bears this offseason once again. And our old friend Ben Johnson was in the news again, and we're going to talk about it. But I got to say what's up to our guy in the TD booth, Mr. Kool-Aid.
Making his appearance in the TD booth.
Though?
Morning, dude.
Hey, good morning to my brothers, man. Hey, both of these guys, two of my brothers here, man, that are probably two of the ones I'm probably closest to here at Woodward Sports. It's epic to be able to be here this holiday weekend with you two. And I get the grind too, Stick. As fathers this Memorial Day weekend, it's a grind, but it's awesome to be here talking Lions with the bros. So
shout out to the grandmas taking care of the kids.
Yeah,
shout out.
Wait, is there a joke behind there that I'm
No, Grandma's taking care of the kids this morning. That's why I'm able to be here.
Oh, let's
cap. And one more thing, y'all already know. Chat family, as always, you all are the most important part of this thing. Smash that like button. Smash that like button. Let's throw this on to everybody's algorithm this morning so that they got something nice to watch for the holidays. Unless they're the Bears, the Vikings, the Packers, still push it onto their stream as well. Let's rock.
That's what I'm talking about. I see you guys in the chat. John F. and Lord. We got A. Diz, Doughboy Steve, Arf. We got a crew here.
Arf?
Stick. Arf. Arf is in the chat. L is in the chat. Rando Smalls, Vincent E. We got some OGs and I'm sure some new people watching. Again, this is the Lions Weekly Update. Normally Terry Foster and Sean Belegian are on the desk with me, but I got Sam Stick Day here to talk Lions football, to talk what's been going on down in Allen Park. As camp is, we're hearing more stuff out of camp. We got some schedule stuff to talk about, juicy lists to talk about. I have a segment named Pissed at the List.
Ooh,
we just got to review everything that's happened in this last week, all the hot topics, because this is our Sunday weekly update show.
Yeah, and I'm with you, man. Some of the lists that came out this week, like not even including some Lions combinations. And
come on.
What are we doing?
What are we doing
Like, do
here?
you even watch football?
No. If you actually look at these lists, these people are getting paid to analyze the NFL.
But I will tell you this. Those people are the reason Woodward Sports exists.
Factual.
Right? Because why is that dumbass's opinion more important than this dumbass's?
It's not.
It's not.
It's not.
It's not.
No.
So my dumbass list is just as valid.
Yes. I want to hear
And actually more important because it's mine.
Yes.
Tell them, Stick.
It's all you need. All you care about is like fantasy football. All you care about is your team. You don't give a shit about anybody else's team.
Yeah, when people tell me about their team, I can't tell you how many post-game shows for the Lions Anson starts talking fantasy football. I'm like, dude, not now.
Yeah.
Not now.
No.
Like, we're here to talk about the game.
Fantasy football is that one the one thing surrounding football you could care less about anybody else's team except yours. You could go to the bank. You could talk for hours about it. Let's talk for hours about the Detroit Lions. I want to start off with a softball as we heat things up. Stick, I want to play a game with you. Something or nothing. Simple. Goes way back. Something or nothing. The Lions' preseason schedule has been revealed, and a joint practice has been announced with the Miami Dolphins. Yeah. To start, do you take anything? Is the preseason something or nothing to you? Just in general, the preseason.
It used to be something. Now it's nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, it used to be like, the first game you'd play a quarter. Second game your starters would play a half. Third game they'd play 3/4 of the game. Fourth game you shut them down and evaluate your talent to who's going to make the cut, right?
Right.
Now it's just survive. Like, just, okay, we're going to throw whoever out there. And that's the tough part with a successful team now that the Detroit Lions is there's not that many roster spots to evaluate anymore, right?
Right.
So you still got to put 12 men on the field or 11 men on the field. Sorry, you still got to put 11 men on the field.
They put 12 on in the Washington game.
Sometimes.
PTSD.
Sometimes they do. Shout out Jim Caldwell. But yeah, so you still got to field a team, but I don't know. We're at a different stage of Lions evolution to where other things that used to be important mean less.
Yeah.
Like we used to watch preseason like, who's going to be the second, third wide receiver? Now we know. Now it's like, okay, who's going to be the fifth wide receiver that can also cover kicks and maybe return something?
Yeah. Will our 7th round pick, will he make the team as a gunner on special teams?
Right.
Or are we that good?
It's so granular now that like it really doesn't mean as much. It's just more get through healthy, start tuning up your body, getting ready for the regular season, and hit the ground running.
Yeah. Stick, I got to admit something to you, though. With this Hall of Fame game in July 31st,
love that.
Jim Harbaugh versus Dan Campbell, like, I'm falling for it. Like, I'm with you across the board. It means nothing. But I can't wait to watch that game.
Well, how can you not be romantic about football?
Football in July, right?
The Hall of Fame game, your Detroit Lions when we don't suck ass.
Right.
Like, yeah. But you're not going to see anybody but Hendon Hooker.
That's what I'm saying. I'm telling myself, like, I'm going to learn something about the Lions and the Chargers. This is a perfect matchup, these two. It's the preseason. You just don't want anybody to get hurt.
Yep,
it's going to be Hendon Hooker versus Kyle Allen.
I mean,
who's going to win that number 2 role?
Like, I think that's probably the biggest storyline going into preseason is Hendon Hooker. Like, what's he going to look like in preseason? But then if he looks good in preseason, doesn't matter.
No.
Like, he looked good in preseason. Who cares? He's playing against backup. So the Hendon Hooker story is really kind of just playing itself out to just be one big fizzle.
Yeah.
But that's because Jared Goff did something that I don't think they were expecting.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think they expected Jared to just kick the can down the field for a couple years while they got the team right. I don't think they expected him to come in and have a resurgence.
Yeah. Or at least at the
renaissance.
very least held down that, like, did what you said, just kind of kick the can down a couple years.
Right, like he's going to be an average quarterback, not an MVP candidate. That kind of screws up your plans.
Right, he got a vote, right? Like a top 5 vote.
He got many.
Yeah.
As he should.
Right.
Carried this team, carried Ben Johnson's bum ass.
Right.
For years. Ben Johnson wasn't anything till he met Jared Goff.
It's weird.
Don't ever forget that, people. Ever.
It's weird people don't put that together.
No, they say it's the other way around.
Yeah, Jared Goff is the beneficiary of Ben Johnson.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Ben Johnson got a gift.
We'll see. I'm excited to see what Ben Johnson's going to do with a gunslinging rookie who likes to
I was
throw.
gonna say, it doesn't matter what pretty play Ben Johnson draws up, because Caleb Williams will stand in the pocket for 1 second and start scrambling, and everything's a fire drill.
Yeah.
So it's like, great play, Ben. It lasted all of a second.
Yeah, sick, dude. Yeah.
Dude, that could have been amazing if you had a quarterback that could process information. But you don't anymore.
You don't have any nail polish remover for that quarterback either.
It affects the grip.
Kool-Aid.
Yes, sir.
Something or nothing. The preseason.
The preseason, you know what? Stick is right. I remember the old days where it was as clockwork. You knew exactly what you were going to get in each one of those. It was 4 preseason games at the time. And you knew, like, that preseason game 3, that was going to be one that was almost like live action. I knew I was going to get 3 quarters, 2 to 3 quarters of some decent football. Now, you know, it doesn't seem like that same type of value is placed on there, and you're kind of looking for different things. So it's something, but it's a very small something. Let's say, like, just an appetizer. It's just something that just kind of perks me up, like, what's that smell? What? Wait.
Right.
There's dinner going on. Then you rush to the kitchen and you realize it's just onions and garlic. They haven't even put the patties on there yet. That's what it is for me right now. Whereas before, it used to actually feel like the breadsticks and the salad at Olive Garden. It used to feel a little bit more substantive.
Do you think that's like an evolution of the way the preseason is executed now, or do you think that's an evolution of where we're at as Lions fans? Because, like, we used to look forward to the draft too. This year was probably the least excited I've ever been for a draft in my entire life, but it's because it's where you're drafting now. It's no longer, we're getting a top 5, top 10 pick that could change the franchise. It's more like, who can we add to this? And you trust Brad Holmes. It's just, everything's different. We've grown up. Like, what used to be important is no longer important. Even winning the damn division to me is no longer important. It's good. I'll take it. But if we get in the playoffs, I'm just as happy.
Just want to be in the dance.
You know what, man? And that's a really, really good point, because in the past, why did we like looking forward to these things? Because of all of those players that we continue to draft that we thought were going to change the trajectory of our franchise. Now we're just ready to get to the games healthy. We're like, just get to game 1 healthy. I don't want to see anybody get hurt in preseason. We already know what these guys are going to do. Even the young guys, we already know they're going to contribute and such. So that is a really good point by you, where maybe the value of it is coinciding with the fact that right now we're a team who, look at us now. You just said it. Even the regular season and now even the division, a little bit of that value and luster has come off. Just a little bit of shine has come off, and now we're looking forward to what is this team going to be come playoff time. You know, not that we don't say take every regular season game seriously, but the stakes are right.
We assume playoffs now. It's no longer, I hope they have a 500 season, or I hope we make it in. You know, it's like, no, we're in the playoffs. Just where are we going to be?
We can't even comprehend not making the playoffs.
Oh, my God.
Like, we say Super Bowl or bust, but a complete and utter failure would be missing out on the playoffs.
I don't even want to put that in the universe.
No, neither do I.
All right.
Neither do I.
Why are you bringing it up?
No, let's move on. Joint practices. Are you a fan of joint practices?
I am.
Are you?
Them. Yeah.
So they got Miami, which is a pretty cool matchup, and they're talking about Houston, both at home. The last 2 preseason games. I'm a fan of them too. Why are you a fan?
We did them in high school too, right? Like, and it was always more fun to hit somebody else than your own teammates and guys you like and stuff like that. And I get it. In practice, you want to turn it up a notch. So this is where you can turn it up a notch. It's not really a preseason game. It's not a regular season game. But if me and you are going against each other full pads, I'm not going to try to murder you like I would somebody else that I don't know that's wearing opposite color jersey. Like,
especially
if you're wearing that OCJ, you're getting it.
Yeah, especially 7 weeks in, you've been doing it every single day.
Right, and you saw the fights that happen and the competitiveness. Like, it just adds that element of, like, competitiveness that you can have in practice. But after a while of hitting the same guy over and over and over, like, if you're first team offense going up first team defense, you're lining up against the same guy for the entire season in practice. You learn his move, like, it's just different. You practice different. So I love them. I love the mix up. And then, like, the history Dan Campbell has with being the Miami coach.
Oh,
they're like, you did good, but not good enough. Get the hell out of here. And for him to have kind of some retribution coming back with the big thing, Like,
love it.
Look what you missed out on.
Swing that around.
Oh, dude, just let the hammer fly.
Yeah, and I'm a stay loyal to Stephen Ross, go blue. They fumbled that bag. They had Dan Campbell in their building, and let him walk out. Yeah. And we're going to talk about DJ Reader in a little bit, someone that in this new regime, once you let someone you want in the building, you don't let them leave.
No, you shouldn't.
You shouldn't. I like this matchup, too, both Miami and possibly Houston. Miami with the high-powered offense, getting a taste of that. Mike McDaniels is a creative mind. And let's remember
talk about a juxtaposition of coaches.
That's very true.
Like, though, they are polar opposite humans.
We got Jim Harbaugh in week 1 of preseason, Mike McDaniel week 3. The defensive coordinator for the Falcons week 2. We'll get a little bit of that storyline. But, no, those joint practices are about the starters. So when I see Houston possibly coming to town, I love that wide receiver matchup and their secondary matchup. Seeing Derek Stingley Jr. And everyone they have on that in that secondary with St. Brown, with J-Mo, with possibly a TeSlaa, Tim Patrick, those guys. I look forward to seeing those matchups. But we talked about Hendon Hooker. Hendon Hooker versus Kyle Allen is what it is. Before we move on from the preseason, any other players that you're kind of looking for, and maybe non-starters in these preseason games?
Rakestraw is the guy I got my eyes on, right? Like, if he takes a step forward, that's going to be a major thing for this team. He was kind of a ghost last year, and injuries played a part in that, obviously. But you want to see progression out of that. I'm not worried about Terrion Arnold. You saw the progression throughout the regular season, and he's going to be a premier cornerback. But if Rakestraw becomes like this flash in the pan, even if he has like a good 8-game stretch, right? Like, he doesn't have to be a world beater, but if he goes on a streak and we can rely on him for some things, I think that's going to make a huge difference in this defensive backfield. Yeah,
if he can be a true number 3, if he can be as good as the number 2, but be that number 3 behind Terrion and DJ Reed. He's got Amik Robertson ascending. I love how he finished the season last year. This secondary has a lot of potential. I think it's going to be good, but they also have a high ceiling. Alex Rakestraw is a huge part of that. What about Sione Vaki?
I like Vaki. Where do you put in Vaki? I mean, that's the problem. He's so far buried in the depth chart. He's never going to get that real opportunity. You're gonna play him over Gibbs?
Yeah, no.
You're gonna play him over Montgomery?
No.
They love Craig Reynolds too.
Love him.
You're gonna play him over Craig in a short yardage situation?
Not much to see.
That's the problem with Vaki is I don't think we're ever going to get to see him unless he just shows out in practice and all of a sudden they fall in love with him and they give him an opportunity and he explodes. But even then, it's going to come at the expense of one of the guys I just mentioned.
Right.
So I hope he does well on special teams.
Yeah, you're right.
That's all.
And you bring up a point. There's only one football, and I wanna touch on that real quick. But I got to shout out Dante151 in the chat with the $5 super chat. My guy Dante says, while watching this, I'm watching the Laws String Race 2, and it's really interesting. Also, when will Rodgers retire from football? Because he is donezo.
I mean, I think the league's retiring him.
Yeah. Are the Steelers even in play anymore? Or what are they doing?
I don't know.
Mason Rudolph?
But that's the thing. Like,
I don't want Aaron Rodgers.
They would rather roll with Mason Rudolph
Make people understand
than
a 43-year-old
headache in your locker room.
Yeah. 43-year-old with coming off an Achilles injury.
And, of course, you got to sign Alan Lazard with him.
You
can't forget Alan Lazard in this situation.
I think Mercedes, we'll get some more guys come out of retirement.
Yeah.
Throw on that wide receiver core.
Yeah. I think the league's retired him.
Yeah.
It's a conspiracy. It's collusion.
Collusion stick.
Yeah.
We talked about there's only one football. We were talking about Sione Vaki. Who's he going to get the ball? He's not going to play in front of Jahmyr Gibbs or Montgomery or get targets over.
Could he take like a Khalif Raymond type role? Maybe take some of those snaps, like a little gadget player. But I want J-Mo getting my gadget plays.
Right.
So
and he doesn't have the speed of Khalif Raymond. He's not that type of game changing.
He could
athlete.
be though. I mean, his RAS score, as always, with a Brad Holmes draft pick, was off the charts, and he's got all the measurables to be that guy. It's just sometimes there's better guys.
Yeah.
And that's where what we were talking about earlier. This is the fourth running back on the roster. We're like, how are we gonna get him snaps?
Good point.
So, what is the preseason even for? A fifth running back?
Could you dream of talking about this in a Sunday morning show
such
4 years ago?
Now it's unbelievable.
We're spoiled.
It's crazy, and that's sometimes why I get frustrated on air with some of the fans and stuff like that, because we're so damn spoiled now. It's like, how will we get Sione Vaki in? Oh my God, this is the biggest problem we're facing this offseason.
We used to find something to pull out.
It used to be, who the hell's going to rush for 1,000 yards, because nobody has since Lou Otto in 1946. Those used to be the conversations.
Now we're talking about, can our running back have 2,000 all-purpose yards?
Right.
And the backup running back getting another 1,000 yards.
It's such a level up. It's so crazy.
It is. But one of those guys who needs the ball is a tight end. And Stick, I want to ask you something or nothing. Sam Laporta has entered this offseason healthy for the first time in his career. His first bit of break from football he's been able to take since before his senior season at Iowa. Is that something or nothing?
It's something.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime your body's well rested, and I don't know his regiment while he's been off, so I can't really speak to that. As we've been training like DK Metcalf, running with hundreds of pounds on his back. I don't know, but I would assume he's staying in good shape. I saw his press conference the other day when they were talking to him about not having as a productive second year as first year, and it's like, dude, we scored the second highest or the most highest points in the last 5 years. What do you want? The ball's going places. It just didn't come to me this time. And I love that mentality, not the selfish, yeah, you're right, I should get some more targets, or I think this team could do better. We wouldn't have lost the playoff game if, none of that happened, right? And say that's coach speak, say what you want, but I appreciate the professionalism behind that. But, yeah.
That's who they brought in the building. They drafted him both for his skill but also for that mindset.
Yeah, but, coming into this season, it's the Planet Fitness model.
Yeah.
Your fitness is essential. Your health is essential. And that's what it is for the line. I think that's the number one storyline this season. Can they stay healthy, period?
Yeah.
And coming in rested should help.
Yeah. I think Sam Laporta. Yeah, no, I agree with you, and I just think Sam Laporta keeps getting slept on like mattresses. People forgot about him. He wasn't healthy to start the season. He's still a weapon. TeSlaa is not his replacement. We got.
Yeah, who says that?
That's starting to spiral. Sam Laporta is now one of those guys that they might not be able to pay, which is fair. He'll be in the mix of, is that a guy we extend? But let's not forget, this is still a top 5 tight end in the league.
He's not a tight end.
No, but the target share. If you cannot pay him, you keep Brock Wright, and you keep
but
funneling
think
through
Josh
tight
Reynolds
ends.
Role. Think like Tim Patrick role. That's gonna be TeSlaa.
Yeah,
he's your secure blanket. That's what he's gonna be. He's your third option.
Right. But people are saying, all right, if J-Mo's gonna get more targets, Amon-Ra St. Brown's still gonna get his. More for Gibbs.
That's why Goff's gonna throw for 70 touchdowns.
Exactly.
I called it. And when it happens, I want you all to come back to this show and watch it and be like, my God, Stick knew what he was talking about again.
Look it.
It happened again, boys and girls. It happened again.
Stick standing on business. Hey, Kool-Aid, you got an opinion on Mr. Sam Laporta? Is this something that he's finally healthy going into the offseason? You got a new tight ends coach out of North Dakota State. Everyone's excited about.
North Dakota State's a fun program.
They are.
They really are.
Yeah, and you telling me that we setting up the Krispy Kreme for one Sam Laporta?
Yeah, in
is that
the
what you're
food
talking
box.
about?
Your food box is your belly.
He's the one who, over the last, I don't know, 6 months, 7 months, it seems like he's left out of a lot of conversations when we talk about Lions playmakers and when we talk about the Lions offense. And then we always go, oh, that's right, Sam Laporta. And I think it's because he's one of those guys who he's willing to do whatever is asked of him. We know that tight ends they can carry a versatile, basically multiple different responsibilities out there on the field, from blocking and not just blocking. Are you stand back to chip because now you sent Jahmyr Gibbs out to catch the ball? That makes a difference. Jahmyr Gibbs isn't just play action and running out there, leaving his responsibility. And so when you see all of this like historic, nature to the Lions offense last year, you have to have somebody willing enough to have no ego, willing enough to do all of the dirty work, and willing enough to still be sure-handed in the pass-catching game when they call on you. Think about how much more consistent it must have been for him last year when he really got going in that offense to be able to get those reps versus last year where he had to just be, bro, you may get some looks this week, you may not. But he was still ready every single game. Right. He was still blocking. He was still dogging. He's still pushing people down the field. He's doing everything that this team needs. And then you know what? The defense also had to pay attention to him. He put himself out there on the map, and I believe that he acquitted himself quite well last year, man. I'm looking forward to what Sam Laporta can be in this next season because I do think, with all the attention, all the talk, all the noise right now, it does put a little attention on him. I wonder if Jared Goff is like, you know what, I do got to get my guy involved some more. Because I think that there were some plays where he was missing sorely from the red zone last year. That's just me. I thought especially early in the season when they were trying to get things going, Sam Laporta could have been somebody that they really focused in on.
Yeah. It's tough to critique a 15-2 team.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, he was misused in the red zone. They should have been 17-0. Like, it's just tough because they had such a successful regular season. All the stats are there for everybody. It's tough to be like, yeah, this guy should have gotten more. It's like, okay, but what? They were 15-2. Like, if they were losing, then yes, this is definitely like, why aren't they using Sam Laporta? But
they didn't have a top offense.
He gets it. They get it. It's going to be interesting to see the wrinkles that Johnny Morton brings that Benedict Johnson didn't.
Yeah. And you're right. And that's where it goes back to, and it was cool to hear Sam Laporta even say that too. Like, look how historic this offense was last year. You look at Jahmyr Gibbs being, number 4 pass catcher in yards on this team. That, to me, what you just did, if people were like, oh, man, look at Amon-Ra and Sam Laporta the year before, what are they saying this season? Look at all them fools. There's a whole lot of them that can go out there and catch. They even put Tim Patrick on film. So this offense, if you are John Morton, this offense, I believe, put so much more on film for defenses to have to consider and look at than they actually did when they had Ben Johnson here. I think that that's going to bode really, really well for John Morton, who they say was the foundation layer of this offense. And now he's going to get back into the swing of things with perceivably many more weapons at his disposal.
Yeah. Hey, Phil in the chat says, is Brandon the most handsome host at WSN? Then follows it up, top 5 good-looking hosts at WSN.
Sexual chocolate, ladies and gentlemen.
Sexual chocolate. Kenneth, also in the chat, says, good morning, fellas. This is my favorite show. I work Monday through Saturday, and listening Sunday morning is making the off-season bearable. Welcome, Kenneth.
True.
We appreciate you for being here. Sam Laporta.
It's nice to have a casual sports talk show.
Yeah.
Like, usually I got to yell at people and, correct them because they're stupid. This is nice.
We are getting into Jared Goff around 9, 10, so we'll see where that takes us. But I'm usually with you on the Jared Goff side
Let's
of
get
things.
into some Jared Goff. Did you hear about the new podcast I'm starting?
No.
Inside Jared Goff.
Do you have those 2 testicles that you're going to...
They're right there. That's actually... The prop is always here.
There we go.
Jared Goff balls.
There we go. JG, we will get to him.
Yes.
I promise you.
That's the only reason I came this morning.
I know. It's the only reason I had to.
You had to bait me with that to come fill in.
I had to
we're gonna
go
talk Jared
right
Goff.
to PFF to find something to argue about, as we know.
There will be no arguments.
Yeah.
Those have all been settled.
They haven't, and there's one. I can't wait to hear your side of this when we talk about it. But last thing, before we get into some of the hotter stuff, I want to bring up something, another something or nothing stick. DJ Reader is at voluntary workouts, also claiming it's his healthiest offseason in a while.
I mean,
At 30 years old.
starting to sound like Miguel Cabrera here with everybody. It's the best they've ever looked.
Right. but with him, he's coming off like 2 torn
Yeah.
quads. He actually is healthy. And we don't need to talk in depth about this, but what I thought was so cool, the timing of this all, like you're telling me we have a veteran leader of this team, one of the better defensive tackles in the NFL, with this mentality, and then Brad Holmes went out and drafted Tyleik Williams, the defensive tackle at number 28. Like, you're telling me that doesn't fit with, like, the culture that this Lions team and organization is building? Is that not the perfect situation for your first-round draft pick?
And it's the perfect situation for your veteran to light a fire under his ass too, right?
That, too.
I mean,
It's weird how that works, too.
like you always got to think of the other way around, and him saying that may also be like kind of pissing on the fire hydrant. Like, no, I'm still healthy. I'm still the lead dog around here. I don't care that you spent a first round pick. We're gonna show you what a real healthy DJ Reader is gonna do. And, once again, I think that's just the theme of this offseason. Can they stay healthy? What does this defense look like healthy? We had a very small sample size of it last year with 4 to 5 games, and they were a top 5 defense. They've added to that potential top 5 defense if they would have stayed healthy. Didn't happen. Can't say what it would have been, but if we project those first 4 games over the entire season, they were scary as hell. Aiden Hutchinson would have had like 40 sacks. I mean, I know I'm exaggerating, but it was
He was
wild.
on pace.
It was wild what they were doing, and that was before they went out and added to it. So, like, I'm really looking forward to seeing these guys at full capacity, and just imagine the wealth that Calvin Shepard has to work with if this cupboard is completely full.
Oh, my word. It's a maybe not top-heavy, although you have Hutch at the top of that defensive line depth chart, but it's a pretty deep defensive line. When you're talking about Mekhi Wingo being near the bottom of that, Levi Onwuzurike, like, there are some veterans and some youth that have a lot of potential. Again, it just comes to staying healthy. That's it. That's it.
Yep. And I love the Williams addition, though. Like,
Me too.
He's an anchor. I don't really see him getting a ton of sacks. But he is an anchor to where if you're double teaming Hutch every play, you're gonna also have to almost double team him too to keep him from moving the pocket around, blowing up the line of scrimmage. So I love that addition to this defense. And everybody crying, I didn't get a defensive end. Sometimes the best way to help your weak spots is to make a position stronger. Now the focus is there, and your weak spots can kind of work a little bit better.
Yeah. And it's weird. Aleem McNeil's injured, too, and not going to be available till Thanksgiving. So why not replace that? Why not draft your next DJ Reader, and then you have Aleem and Tyleik for the next 4 to 5 years. And while Tyleik was at Ohio State, he had 9 edges and linebackers drafted around him since he was an all Big Ten player at Ohio State. It's weird how when you have a good defensive tackle, it opens up your pass rush for the guys that can go get the quarterback. Weird how that works, Stick. But in terms of staying healthy, we just talked about maybe the biggest addition this entire offseason. Not a free agent signing, not a draft pick. It's Aiden Hutchinson coming back.
Yeah.
And news came out, he is officially cleared. That dude is ready to go. I don't know if you were worried about him being ready to go. We thought he was going to play in the Super Bowl, but he's back. He looks good. He sounds great. The sky's the limit for him. What do you think about Hutch coming back, dude?
I never have to worry about Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell and Chris Spielman, guys. I don't think he gets mentioned enough, being ready to go. Like, they only participate and let guys on the team that crave and love football.
Yeah.
And when you take something away from somebody that they absolutely love and have dedicated their life to for 6 months, a year, whatever it is, you get that itch, you get that hunger. It's even more, you almost appreciate playing more because it was taken away from you. So I'm interested to see that type of dog in Aiden Hutchinson, because he already had an endless motor, but now it's going to be an appreciative endless motor. Like, every time he looks around, like, I'm out on the field, because when you spend those years, or you spend that time on the sideline watching your brothers go to war, knowing that you could have helped, that tears at your heart and makes you a different person moving forward. And I'm not Aiden Hutchinson, but I had to have knee surgery in high school, right? And it, like, destroyed my football thoughts for anything. And not like I was going to be a great player or anything, but either way, like when I was on the sidelines, I was embarrassed to just be there at practice not participating. And when I would go to games, you just don't feel like a part of the team. Everybody else putting on their shoulder pads, putting on their helmet, and you're throwing your jersey on over a T-shirt to go stand on the sidelines. It is not the same.
It's the worst.
It is the worst thing you can experience. You're a college ball player. I'm sure you had an injury from time to time.
I had a shoulder surgery and knocked me out for a year and a half.
It crushes your soul to a thing that you don't know. Now, like Aiden Hutchinson's obviously clearly a level above what we were. And he's going to be welcome back, right? Where it's a different situation when you're a marginal player. But that's the type of hunger that we're going to see out of him this season that I don't think people are prepared for.
No, I don't think so either.
Right.
If the key is how that leg recovers and what all the doctors have said, best case scenario, how it broke.
Yeah. And
he should be good. So
bones heal.
Yeah, so
calcium.
You factor all that. You factor who Aiden Hutchinson is as a football player, as a worker. I mean, we need to talk about Defensive Player of the Year again with him immediately before he takes a snap.
Yeah, and then that goes into, are you going to pay him like a Defensive Player of the Year before he is?
They do have to make that decision.
They
got him on the 5 year. They got 5 years, a 5-year rookie contract for him. But do you pay him now? Before he's back, if you can get him.
That's been the trend for Brad Holmes and his guys.
Yeah,
pay him early, and then it becomes a discount to market later.
Now, I hate to throw this out into the ether. Are you worried at all about him being injury prone?
No.
He had a big injury in college. This was fluky, but it was an injury.
Yeah, no.
That has no factor in it for you.
Not for me.
You're paying the man.
Because of the type of the injury, right? It's not like he tore his Achilles. It's not like there's a ligament damage that he could. No, I mean, when you get leg whipped and your leg just literally snaps around another gentleman's leg, there's nothing you can do about that.
No, I'm with you. It's just it's year after year.
It's like Carlton Davis breaking his jaw. Like
that's fluky.
How many football plays has he played?
But he's also missed 5 games in every season the last 4 years.
Yeah, I know. But like those types of injuries, I don't fault guys for.
Fair.
Like
Fair.
If you're coming out all the time and pulling a hammy, or you know like rolling your ankles constantly, like you got weak ankles or something. This is just that.
Remember when Steph Curry had weak ankles?
Yeah.
Almost cost him his career.
Yeah.
It's a real thing.
Good thing they didn't give up on him.
I know, right? Did you know that the team had to go? They went from the number 14 blitzing team in the NFL before Hutch's injury to the number 1 blitzing team in the NFL. Yeah. So they had to change the entire strategy with Hutch out of the lineup.
Yep.
Think about what that will do to this defense, having him back again. Think about what it'll do to that secondary, having him back. We talked about Ennis Rakestraw
dropping in coverage instead of having to run, like having to chase the quarterback.
It's massive. Yeah. And that, like, this wasn't a Terrion Arnold topic, but you look back to last year, and it's like, that is what he and the rest of that secondary had to deal with. As a rookie, your team is blitzing more than any team in the NFL. You're on islands all the time.
Well, I mean, that's part of it. That's man coverage, right? That's why you bring in guys like DJ Reed, and that's why you bring in guys like Carlton Davis, who was kind of being misused in Tampa Bay in a zone system.
Yeah.
And you saw him come here in a man-to-man coverage and kind of show out. But that's also why you saw a lot of early penalties on Terrion Arnold, because when you're on an island, and he likes to be physical, and he was allowed to be at Alabama. A little different when you get to the pros and you're going up against Justin Jeffersons of the world and those types of guys.
But that can be coached out, right? Like,
and
being
you saw the
handsy.
officials start to adjust to him, like, oh, this is kind of how he plays. We're not going to call everything, because it's kind of ridiculous to call those ticky-tacky things when we know a guy's a physical cornerback. But
exactly. You know, growing up, you've been a Lions fan for many years.
Yes.
Stick.
Too long.
How many seasons did we watch? And the cornerbacks were nowhere near the wide receivers anyway. They're catching it without a defensive back within 5 yards.
Yeah.
For me, Terrion Arnold he's at least in the mix to cause a penalty. to have a pass interference penalty called on him. He was there.
Half the battle is being there.
Yeah,
right?
And he's there.
Right.
Like, to me, that's something. I've seen way too many Detroit Lions
He's just
DBs.
got to get more interceptions, and then they'll just stop throwing at him in general.
That's fair. But he's got Kirby on his team. The number 25th player.
Kirby hawks the ball though. Like he needs those one-on-one man interceptions, cutting under a curl route or beating the man on the spot when you're on a drag or something. Like he needs to start getting those interceptions, and they'll be terrifying because not only every time I look over, he's near the guy I'm trying to throw it to. Now he's going to intercept the ball.
Right.
And
now you're just not going to throw it over to that side.
Yeah,
that's the goal of this whole thing.
Right.
So then you have DJ Reed on the other side, and Meek Robertson, Rakestraw.
And good luck.
And if they're playing, well, then where do you throw the ball?
You can't.
Right. Ben Johnson can't call up a play.
Especially because you only have 2.3 seconds because Aiden Hutchinson is on that quarterback's ass.
That too. And the quarterback is probably scrambling out of the pocket one way because Tyleik Williams and DJ Reader are pushing the pocket forward up the middle. So you can't run up the middle. You're also getting pressure from the big boys up the middle. So Caleb Williams, JJ McCarthy, and Jordan Love are going to be spending a lot of time out with Brian Branch and Amik Robertson.
You see the plan. They just need to execute it. That's it.
Yeah.
Like we see it. We see all the weapons. There's no weak spot on this team anymore now that you have Aiden Hutchinson back and you drafted Williams. There's no weak spot. I mean, maybe the opposite defensive end if you want to have a crybaby argument about it. But I will come back to you with this. Name one other opposite defensive end in the league that's super elite.
There are none.
The only one there was last year was Zadarius Smith, and you went and got him. And you're still going to bring him back.
He's coming back.
Yeah.
He's just not messing around with training camp.
Yeah. Why would he?
Yeah, he'll be post June 1st. He'll sign for $8.5 million.
Yeah, his cousin plays for the practice squad.
Yeah,
He's getting cashed out. Fine.
We're good. Him, Marcus Davenport, and crew.
All set?
I'm good.
Yep.
I'm good with that defensive line. Kool-Aid.
Yes,
Can I ask you about Hutch?
What did you say, bro?
Can I ask you about Hutch?
What up,
we aren't underplaying or overplaying how important his return is to the Lions. Like, officially cleared this week. This defense is different with him in the lineup.
Yeah, with Hutch, when you look at the start that he got off to last year, I thought that he answered a lot of the questions. You know, everybody was talking about, yes, it's nice he's getting the pressures, but there were some people who believed he needed to turn those pressures into sacks. To see him do that at the beginning of last season, it was a welcome sight, honestly. I mean, for the people who believed he needed to do more of that, and for the people who just wanted that narrative to go away. And you saw this team, even though they found ways to manufacture defense, I thought that it left certain layers of their defense very bare. The linebackers got overworked. The linebackers got overstressed. The linebackers wound up getting injured as well because they were doing so much. So much so that the broadcast actually was calling it out like, yo, look what Calvin Shepard is doing with these linebackers. He's stunting them and he's allowing them to help create the pressure. And then who would clean up with those sacks? People like Zadarius Smith. Sometimes Muhammad got back there and such. And so when you're talking about having Aiden Hutchinson, you're talking about the whole defense, the whole offensive line now, an offensive scheme, having to focus on double and potentially triple teaming. So now imagine that. Now all these guys last year who were getting home because you had to bring your second layer of pressure and defense and scheme and stunt and try and do everything to get home, now all of a sudden you don't have to do as much of that. How much better now does that make the linebackers? How much better now does that make the other side of that line, no matter who's over there? How much better now, also because you talk about what they did in that middle to make sure that they can try and get some reinforcements there. I think that this allows the Lions to be a more complete defense, having Aiden Hutchinson back, because I dare any offensive line to not double and spy and chip and all that with Aiden Hutchinson over there. So I don't know, man. I'm ecstatic for what this team can do. You and Stick have continued to make me feel more reassured about that. Even with the Sam Laporta stuff, just going back to, like, look, they're a historic offense team. No matter what the production was or wasn't for him. So similar to this, man. I think Aiden Hutchinson just supercharges this defense, man, all the way around.
Yeah, and you brought up one position group that his play and that defensive line helps, the linebackers. And I don't want to call it drama yet, but there have been some whispers of drama at Allen Park with Alex Anzalone's contract situation. Do you think it's headed towards the soap opera? Do you think Alex Anzalone will do that?
I don't think management will let it get to that point.
I don't think so either. That's not what they do.
No, that's not how this operation works. And if Anzalone steps out of line, I'm sure he'll be drawn back in real quick.
Yeah.
The broken heart thing about playing on Christmas, I understand that. Like, who wants to be away from their family on Christmas? But it goes back to, I'm not a big WWE guy, but it goes back to The Rock back in the day. Know your role and shut your mouth. Like, I'm sorry, but they drafted Jack Campbell in the first round. He's gonna be the green dot. Have helped this team get to where they need to be, but this is what sometimes happens with good teams. Guys you like, guys who contribute, guys who I think we all will say have helped this team take that next leap. They're not going to be there for that final leap. And you see it in every sport. Kool-Aid's a big basketball fan. You saw it with guys that helped build the Pistons back in 2004. Yeah. Like Chucky Atkins, they sent him a ring, even though he wasn't on the team anymore, because they shipped him out midseason to help them get to where they wanted to be. And nothing against Chucky Atkins, nothing against Alex Anzalone. This is a business.
Yeah.
Like we got one goal, and I appreciate you. If you were born 5 years ago, you'd be 5 years younger, and maybe we'd be building around you. But you're 30 years old. You got 1 year left on your contract. You agreed to this contract. Either you're going to play it out like a man, and then we'll discuss it later, or we move you.
Yeah. If you're Brad Holmes, though, Stick, are you giving him an extension? Alex Anzalone, he'll be 31.
It's just not part of the natural progression of this salary cap. I mean, the Derek Barnes signing him for $10 million is also a big deal too. You're not going to spend $10 million on Derek Barnes. You're not going to have to re-up on Jack Campbell and then spend another $10 to $11 million, because he's going to want more than Derek Barnes essentially, right?
His mentee.
So let's say he wants $11 million. So now you got $30 million locked up in your middle linebacker position. You just can't do it.
That's tough.
Math is not mathing.
And when you talk about wanting to keep everybody that Brad has drafted, there are going to be some casualties. And if you know that you have drafted your future green dot, which they said last year was supposed to be their current green dot in Jack Campbell, and I believe that it is very, very due, beyond time, past time due for them to make another investment this coming offseason at the linebackers, I do believe that gives you some flexibility. I don't necessarily want to see Alex Anzalone go anywhere. But when you're talking about what you have to do, some people aren't going to be back. That's the reality. But I know this. People want to make sure Brian Branch gets paid. Yep. I know this. People right now are trying to figure out how do we get the pennies to make sure we can definitely keep J-Mo here. And so when you start talking about that type of stuff, that's where I've noticed Brad Holmes has made the difference. Hey, look, Big Z is not here right now. And then what did he do on draft day? Hey, Curbs, here's the bag. Yep. It just kind of is what it is.
Which, by the way they structured that contract, he's only $4 million against the cap this year.
Dude, masterful.
Just like kicking the can down the road. But if this Brad Holmes thing like implodes, the next GM is going to be in a world of hurt.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, my goodness, like, oh, you paid Kirby $4 million this year, but I got to pay him $38 in 2029. Like, it's insane.
Not taking that job.
Well,
you better get a Super Bowl ring before before then.
You're hoping, right? And then he restructures, and we kick the can down the road like LA did for a while.
Yeah. I have this striking suspicion, though, Stick and Kool-Aid, that they are going to sign him. Like, to me, he's one of their guys. I don't disagree with why maybe you shouldn't. Why maybe you shouldn't put that type of money into the linebacker room, but he's one of their captains. Like, he's as much a part of this turnaround as a St. Brown and a Penei Sewell. Not the same type of player as them. Let me get that clear. But from a culture standpoint, he's 100% the voice in that linebacker room. We want Jack Campbell to take that step and be the leader, and he will one day. But that room and that defense, it runs through Alex Anzalone, and they're much better with him on the field.
Two things. It ran through Alex Anzalone. And the other one,
you might be right.
You mentioned his guys, Penei Sewell, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Mm-hmm. Captains.
Did he re-up them early, or did he let them ride their contract out?
He re-upped them early.
What's he doing with Alex Anzalone?
At this point, it's been written. It's riding out. That's why, like, this is happening,
man.
In July 31st.
Let's look at the age. How old's Penei Sewell? Like 12? He's the youngest guy ever play in the NFL. I can't believe he's only 23 or whatever the hell he is. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown at the beginning of his career.
It's the age. I get it.
He's old Yeller. I love him. Love him. It's just, you got to take him out to the shed, Pa.
I think he's getting better though. Like I'm with you. That's why you don't give him a 5-year contract.
Hey,
but
Alex,
add 2.
Sorry, we're not going to sign you to this $11 million deal, but we have an opportunity for you on the coaching staff if you'd like to help us in the linebacker room.
Just hanging with Teddy Bridgewater.
It's either that or he's going to go to a team like Carolina that'll pay him $15 million.
And I guess that'll be his decision.
It is his decision.
All I know is this defense is better with him on the field, and Jack Campbell is better with him on the field.
All right. We gonna see.
We are going to see.
We gonna see.
Let's take a 10-minute hiatus directly talking about the Lions because I want to talk about some NFC North stuff here before we start talking about some of these lists that have been spiraling around the internet. The tush push, which was originally put out there
by the weak-ass Packers.
The Green Bay Packers.
Yep. Weak-ass Packers.
Proposed to get rid of the tush push.
Yep. Weak-ass Packers.
The Lions said, no, screw that. Let's keep the tush push.
Not only did the Lions say that, they were the only team on the Eagles' schedule to say that.
I love it. What does that make you feel? I love it.
Not only is it, we approve of this, but we're saying, not only do we approve of it, let's go, boys. Mm-hmm. And, that's just on the table, baby. Like, you know what? I don't care. And I love it. It's a football play. We're football players. We got to stop it.
Right.
I didn't like Benedict Johnson's little weasel answer. I've never seen an explosive play out of that. Yeah, well, maybe that's why you should have ran the ball with 3rd and 1 instead of trying to throw a slant, you idiot, in the playoff games. Like,
Bing bong.
He didn't want the yard Kool-Aid. He needed the explosive play on 3rd and 1. That's where this guy's a moron. Now you're going to get me going on Benedict Johnson. But
that was my goal of this.
Oh, thank you. But either way, the Lions put their nuts on the table, and in only a way that Dan Campbell can, because I love the fact that they were the only ones playing the Eagles that were like, let's go.
Let's go.
Everybody else playing the Eagles was like, please, no, not this year.
What week do they play the Eagles?
I don't care.
November 16th. Call it week November 16th. They play the Eagles, 8:20 p.m. Bring it on.
Back-to-back games.
Yeah.
Commanders and Eagles back-to-back.
That's a stretch. I think the Vikings are maybe
road,
before, right at the beginning or at the end of that stretch. Right after the bye week, that's going to be a game the entire nation is watching. I'm excited for. I love that it was the Lions, not only being the only ones on their schedule, but that the Packers and the Bears are just bitching about it now. You said it, Ben Johnson. Have you ever seen a tush push become an explosive play? I like explosive plays. I like big plays, so I'm not a big tush push guy myself.
Just when we're talking about football, off the field, he loves the tush push.
Oh, loves it.
Loves it.
Loves it. Have you ever seen a tush push become an interception thrown by your wide receiver?
No.
In the biggest moment of the game?
No, I've never seen that.
Yeah.
But that had an opportunity to be an explosive play.
Yeah, right? Apparently.
Yeah. So why not just a Hail Mary every time you snap the ball?
The more that comes out of Chicago.
The fact that Caleb Williams hates it there and doesn't want to be there, and his dad's talk like,
you couldn't find a more opposite quarterback to Jared Goff in terms of how they approach
that's
the
why
quarterback
he won't be the quarterback in 2 years.
Yeah. Ben Johnson is, the more that comes out, the cringier it gets to me.
I love it.
The more I question, I'm really doubting that he can lead a locker room of men.
Listen, I equate him to anybody who left Bill Belichick, right? Where are they now? Where's Josh McDaniels? Mm-hmm. He was a great offensive mind. Mm-hmm. Oh, my goodness, the best offensive coordinator we've seen in a long time. Wah, wah, wah. When he's on his own, when he's a head coach, when he's got to worry about clock management, when he's got to worry about defensive scheme, when he's got to worry about injuries, when he's got to worry about player personalities, when he's got to worry about managing everybody, not only his defensive coordinator, his offensive coordinator, those egos, it's a whole different ball game when you're the head chef.
You hit it. And there's one team in the NFC North where the head chef doesn't also cook the side dishes.
Right.
It's Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions.
Yep.
No, and that's nothing against the minds of Ben Johnson and Matt LaFleur and Kevin O'Connell, 3 arguably brilliant minds. But we're talking about what it takes to be a head coach.
Right.
And we're talking about Dan Campbell. It's completely different.
It's different. Robert Saleh Greatest defensive coordinator.
Great example.
Everybody loved coming out of San Francisco. I actually wanted him here over Dan Campbell because I didn't know much about Dan Campbell then, and it was more my ignorance than anything. And when he went to the Jets, I was like, oh, man, we lost a Dearborn native. Great defensive coordinator. How'd that defense do?
Not good.
Right.
Because he has to worry about the fifth guy down the tight end depth chart on offense.
And what's he back doing now? He's in San Francisco as a defensive coordinator, and everything is right with the world.
And he'll do great.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being elite at what you do. Like, I believe it was Martin Luther King. That was thought, if you're a street sweeper, be the Michelangelo of street sweepers.
Yes.
Like, if you're a defensive coordinator, be the Michelangelo of defensive coordinators. That doesn't mean you're a head coach and know how to run the show.
Yeah.
It doesn't, until it's proven. And maybe he'll shut me up, but
he might.
I have seen more great offensive coordinators flame out than ever become elite coaches.
Yeah.
And it's just a fact.
And what did Chicago?
Eric Bieniemy.
What did Chicago? Another great example. Chicago had the players last year.
Oh, I was told that was the greatest situation for a rookie quarterback to ever land.
The greatest.
The greatest. They went and got Keenan Allen, Broder. They drafted Rome Odunze, Broder. They went and got DeAndre Swift for this young man.
And paid him 3 years, $36 million.
Greatest position ever for a rookie quarterback to ever land. And he used to throw for 37 yards in halves.
Yeah.
Like, he used to throw, 100 feet. He threw for 100 feet against the Lions in the first half of one game. 100 feet!
Chicago had good players. You know what they didn't have? A good culture. They didn't have good coaching. That's my point.
Right.
They still don't have the good culture.
Yep.
Ben Johnson can call some genius trick plays. He's smart. He knows how to call plays.
They're explosive.
Can he build a culture? Not just can he build a culture, can he turn around an entire culture? Can he flip this Bears organization that just continues to make horrible decision after horrible decision?
When I look at Caleb and I look at Ben, do you see two alphas?
No.
When you look at Dan Campbell,
enough said, dude.
and I don't even need to add anything to it.
No.
But even if I added the most feminine dude, it'd still be more manly than those two. So you got, that's the energy we're dealing with. And I love what the Lions' identity is. We're going to see what the Bears are.
We are. I see a last place finish in the NFC North out of them.
Again.
One last quick note around the NFC North. Packers GM Brian Gutekunst, our favorite guy who doesn't think you should hang up NFC North flags in Ford Field.
But he doesn't want the tush push, right?
Doesn't want the tush push. Yeah. Hates the
flags.
idea of flag football.
Hates flags?
Hates flags.
Oof.
Yeah, and it's Memorial Day, too, and he hates flags.
My goodness, this guy.
It's also palindrome today, 5/25/25.
Every day for the rest of the month is.
5/26/25. Oh, that's fun. that's a cool little thing I learned today.
Anything for you, bro?
Thanks, my guy. Brian Gutekunst hates flags, hates the idea of flag football in the Olympics, but his quarterback really likes the idea of playing in the Olympics.
It's got to be better than breakdancing.
What? Jordan Love?
No, the flag football in the Olympics. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I don't mind.
Play it.
Do you want Lions players in it though?
Yeah, I don't care.
Who would you want? Where do you immediately go to?
Gibbs is the elite weapon, right? But I think you could mess around with some Brian Branch too, because you need some defense. But I think he could also be a pretty nice receiver on the other end.
Brian Branch?
Yeah,
he could play wide receiver.
Exactly.
Flag football.
Football. He'd be elite.
You need flag pullers too.
Yep.
I just thought it was cool. Drama coming out of Green Bay. Small drama, but all right. Your quarterback. It's just like. Jordan Love, every time I hear easy, just glaze Jordan Love, and that he's still a better quarterback than Jared Goff, which I don't know how he could say that a week ago. Any chance I have to remind people that Jordan Love is not a good quarterback yet, maybe ever, I'll take.
Yeah, there's a reason he sat his ass on the bench for so long.
There is.
I mean, there's a reason they re-signed Rodgers underneath him. Mm-hmm. Like there's a reason, and I mean we've seen it on the field. The dude implodes, but I expect bitching out of Green Bay. It doesn't matter, Jordan Love. You're not playing in it. You're not one of the elite guys that we'd send to represent our country. So
I'll take Lamar at quarterback.
It's like me worrying about it. It doesn't matter, dude. You're not going to be invited.
I've seen you catch. I put you at tight end out there and repping the USA.
Yeah, over Laporta. No, thanks.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Would St. Brown rep Germany?
See, that's the thing. It doesn't matter. We're going to mop the floor with the rest of the world. I mean, Japan actually does have a professional football league, so they may have some good flag football players. Yeah. But, like, does it really – like, this is like when the Olympics started and we started sending professionals for basketball. Yeah. It's not even going to be close for 20 to 30 years.
Yeah, it's over. And it's not until 2028 anyway. But stick, 9 o'clock here. Well, let's reset. We got to get back on the Lions topics because, like every offseason, there's lists and rankings that come out. And I thought this was just an opportunity for us to be a little pissed at some of the lists. This is PFF heavy. Even some guys who were writing these articles, making these lists that I appreciate, I usually like, but I just have some question marks for you. So I don't know if you just want to state your case, plead your case as to why a Lions player should be on a list, should be higher, ahead of this person. I got to talk about this with you because I've been hearing it all week. So let's start off with Let's start off with the wide receiver rankings.
Is this the duo wide receiver rankings or just individual?
Just individual wide receiver rankings. Trevor Sikkema of PFF put 32 wide receivers in 6 different tiers.
Oh, God. Okay.
Starting with A.J. Brown at number 1 as the best receiver in Tier 1. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase round out Tier 1. Tier 2, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Puka Nacua, CeeDee Lamb, Nico Collins, and Tyreek Hill.
Okay.
There's a whole list. Tier 3, Tier 4, Tier 5. Coming in at Tier 6, actually number 32 on this list is Jameson Williams. And I'm going to name some guys he's after, notably. There's some good wide receivers.
Wide receiver
Wilson.
rankings?
T. Higgins, pardon?
This is wide receiver rankings?
Yeah, wide receiver rankings, straight wide receiver. T. Higgins at number 14. Rookie Brian Thomas at number 15. Chris Godwin at 18. DJ Moore at 20. Then here's where it gets fun. Jalen Waddle at 21. Ladd McConkey, a rookie at 22. Marvin Harrison Jr. at 26. Rashee Rice at 28. Josh Downs at 29. There's a handful of guys ahead of Jameson Williams. How do you feel about him being at number 32?
I can disagree with it. I mean, the last 2 you named in particular, you could at least move them up into the top 30. I mean, Josh Downs. Who else did you say right before that?
Rashee Rice.
Rashee Rice. Like, if J-Mo was in Kansas City, my goodness. He would be a top 10 guy. So he's the number 2 here. I'm not super offended by that list.
This isn't as bad as the next one.
Yeah, I'm okay.
glad he's on there.
I think they could potentially move him up 4 to 5 spots. I don't think it's that egregious, though, because you got to remember, there's 32 teams in the NFL. He's the number 2 wide receiver here, so they're still putting him above some number 1s.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
I think he is better than a handful of guys. I'm taking him.
Well, if you're in a draft, where are you drafting him with all those players, right?
Honestly, I'm taking, and I'm sure there's a little bit of bias coming out, I'm taking him over T. Higgins. I'm taking him over Drake London.
T. Higgins is tough. Drake London, maybe.
Devontae Adams, I'm taking over. I respect him being higher on the list.
Devontae Adams.
Because he's one of the best of all time. I respect that.
Right.
I'm still taking him over Devontae Smith, Brandon Ayuk.
Devontae Smith
over DJ Moore.
Definitely. Ayuk, it's tough because it's just what do you need for your offense, right? Like, do I need a big-ass possession receiver? I want Ayuk, right? Like, Drake London is probably more of your prototypical 6'4", can jump out the gym, possession guy. So it really depends on what you want.
Yeah.
If you want a guy that can take the top off the defense and explosive, J-Mo would be number 1 on this list.
Facts.
So
I just think he's a better wide receiver than people are giving him credit for. I think one more year, we're going to see a lot more out of him this season. More routes, more involvement in the offense.
Johnny Morton said.
That's what Johnny Morton said. Exactly.
And I can't question the offensive coordinator, so.
I like him. One more that Jameson is involved in, the PFF top 25 players under 25, has 5 Detroit Lions, not including Jameson Williams.
Yeah.
He's not in this list.
Yeah.
Couple other to note real quick, and then let's talk about it. Bijan Robinson's ahead of Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yep.
Bijan's at number 9. Jahmyr Gibbs is at number 10. There are no Packers on this list. Jameson Williams is not on it. Jack Campbell's not on it. Terry and Arnold is not on it.
How many do you want of the top 5? Like this is what we were talking about earlier, the evolution of where the Lions are. We're pissed that we're only 20% of the top 25 under 25. We want more?
Yeah.
We got more? What do you this is disrespectful. You only give us 20% of the list. But like
I want more.
I do too, and you can argue for more, but I'm not going to be disappointed. There were times when like we would have 0 on this list. So, like, I can't complain. This is where, if you want to flip Bijan and Gibbs, go ahead. I'm okay with that. But
I do.
Good. Let's do it. List is settled. Right. Flip them. Okay, cool. Because if Gibbs had the number 1 carries and he didn't have David Montgomery, he would be probably putting up better numbers. He did with less carries. I know the argument with all that. But at the same time, we're splitting hairs between one position. But we got 5 of the top 25, and people are still pissed off about it. It's amazing. I love it.
It's my money.
Embarrassment of riches.
I want it right now. Now, look, in the case of J-Mo, I'm like, you know what? I kind of get it. He showed some stuff. He showed some improvement. Go out there and do it again. But Jahmyr Gibbs was a whisker away from 2,000 yards, 50 to 60 less touches. And this man went out there and did, in my opinion, a whole lot more with a whole lot less opportunities. Like, I don't get the aspect of saying go out there and prove it that you're better again than Bijan Robinson. And that to me is where it's just like I don't know exactly what people are looking at. And Jahmyr Gibbs, the workload increased. And no matter what situation he was thrown into, no matter what they asked him to do, he went out there and did it.
Well, except in the playoffs.
I don't want to disrespect Bijan Robinson, though. I don't want to do that because I know a lot of times in these types of conversations, it can get very easy to say just F all them out there. But I've recognized, especially, now that we do this in a little bit different capacity than just our conversations, it's like, yeah, Bijan Robinson is a hell of a back. I just don't think that he's quite better than what we've seen from the dynamic Jahmyr Gibbs.
Where's Caleb Williams on that list? I mean, he's the next greatest thing ever, right?
Yep, he is not on this list.
Shocker.
Oh, weird. Jaden Daniels at number 4.
I can accept that.
CJ Stroud at number 12. Those are the 2
that's
quarterbacks.
Tough. CJ Stroud, that's tough. He's going to have a bounce back year to prove that. And Jaden Daniels going to have to not do the sophomore slump, right?
Right. Not pull a CJ Stroud.
Exactly.
CJ Stroud's got to come back to his rookie form without an offensive line.
But with both their rookie seasons, I'm okay with them going off potential of those 2 and putting them on the list. But yeah, it's interesting. No other young quarterbacks on that list.
Yeah. Weird.
Yeah, even a number 1 overall pick that landed in the best position that anybody could ever land in.
With all those weapons.
Wow.
Weird.
It is weird.
Funny how that works.
And we only have 5 on the list?
Only 5.
Blasphemy.
Including the number 1.
We should have more.
Blasphemy. Where's J-Mo?
He needs to be on the list.
Where's he on the list in your eyes?
He needs to be ahead of Ladd McConkey, ahead of Brian Thomas
Ladd
Jr.
McConkey had a fantastic year, and he's the number 1 wide receiver, though. Like, they're going to go off production, and that's what works against J-Mo. He's the number 2 wide receiver. Ladd McConkey was the guy last year for Jim Harbaugh.
I love
Will he
Ladd
be it
McConkey
this year when they add to the roster?
That ain't no lie, brother. He does.
I love Ladd McConkey.
Yeah, exciting whites. Exciting whites.
Broder was the first to it as well.
He
put all of us on to Ladd McConkey.
Yep.
So for him to say that he does believe that J-Mo should be above him,
who's number 1 on
I take
this
that
list?
weighted pretty well.
Penei Sewell.
Penei Sewell?
Yeah. Yeah. She should be.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they got that one right.
Yeah.
They got that.
I mean, dude could retire today and be in the Hall of Fame.
He could. Oh, my gosh.
At 23. He was like,
yeah,
I'm good,
I got
boys.
a solo shot stick.
Huh?
Because as soon as he started talking about Penei Sewell, your face just lit up, bro. I had to solo cam you.
I love that guy. Like, it's like my love for Dan Campbell and Jared Goff. Like, I love them as human beings. Like when Goff's firing back on post-game shows to people that have talked trash about him, just that humble brag. Dan Campbell, like, you saw him trying to fit that big-ass beanbag into the back of a truck. Like, they're dudes that I want to hang out with. And Penei Sewell, when you see this absolute violent monster on the field, and then after the game he's playing with his son like a big teddy bear, it's like dude, these are my dudes. Like, because like you want to be that. Like, that's what you want to be as a competitor, as a man. Like, between the lines, I'm your biggest enemy. You don't want a part of me. But you know what? When I'm with my family, like, I'm loving it. The stuff Holly Campbell posts about Dan,
I love it.
Humanizes him to a level that I don't think I've ever seen a head coach, at least here in Detroit.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we didn't see him behind the scenes of Fat Patricia. What would that have been like? Him just mowing burgers? Like,
On the golf cart.
right. They're just getting his fat ass in a golf cart or a John Deere. And then, like, behind the scenes with Jim Caldwell. I love Jim Caldwell, but that'd be boring as hell. Like, what did Jim Caldwell do in his off time? Jim Schwartz would have been nice to follow around, but like Dan Campbell's just so endearing in all those ways. And that's what I love about this team. And like when I bring up the 04 Pistons, because that's really the last real relevant championship to me. Like, I loved all those guys personally. Like, you knew Rip Hamilton would get up and run his dogs till they were tired. That's when he would know to stop running.
Yeah.
You'd see Chauncey with his family. Like, it was, you like the person and the player, and that's when you got something special. And this team is full of those guys. Like, look at TeSlaa, wearing his damn personalized jersey to his interview. And, like, Brad Holmes is like, a little over the top. But when he explained why he did it, he's like, listen, if you're going to wear a personalized jersey, why not today? Of all days to have my own Lions jersey.
Exactly.
Today's the day I'm going to wear it. And, like, those stories are awesome. You watch the TeSlaa video when they called him and he just goes, yes, Mrs. Ford, says it real loud. And you could see it, like, process with his whole family. It took like a half a second, but that was like, Ford, Detroit, and they all just got hype as hell. Like, that's the stuff that gives me goosebumps. That's the stuff that, like, gets me fired up for these guys. And they'll die for each other in the locker room. Like Ahmed said, I'm gonna die, or Muhammad said, I'm gonna die for you, coach. I'm gonna die for you. Not I'm gonna play hard. Not I'm gonna give it all. I'm gonna give you 110%. I'm gonna die. Like, different levels of love for the game.
But and you know what? You know what else I like about that, Stick? Is that not only are they identifying that, but these players are walking in here knowing that's the standard.
That is the standard.
Like, they're walking in here saying this stuff, knowing, like, look, if I'm going to get any advantage, if I'm going to get on the radar of the coach, this is who they are. This is what we are. And now you got people walking in saying stuff at their press conferences like Dan Campbell was at his first press conference.
Yep.
And I absolutely love that. He talked about biting kneecaps, taking a chunk out the butt cheek, all of that type of stuff. And now you got guys walking in saying, like, literally wearing their customized Lions jerseys and talking about, I will die on the field for you, coach.
Yep.
Like, I love that, man.
Dan Campbell said it early on, maybe that first press conference, a true alpha knows when to concede for the betterment of his team.
Yep.
And he and Brad Holmes have built a team made up of those guys.
Goes back to know your role.
Know your role. Know your role. And Brad Holmes in the chat says, I think J-Mo makes the Pro Bowl this season. This is his true breakout season.
That's what I'm hearing.
That's Brad Holmes, GM Brad Holmes in the chat talking about Jamison Williams.
Yeah, shout out Brad Holmes.
Making the Pro Bowl. Shout out to Brad Holmes. But Penei Sewell, number one. Also, do you hear his press conference this week where he's talking about he's actually trying to get bigger and stronger? Like if you thought that was possible. He's not just in the kitchen posting and toasting.
Well, when you see him, he doesn't look like the strongest guy in the room.
No.
Right? It's just he's just built different, right? Like when you saw him go toe-to-toe with Aaron Donald. But you put him up against, we mentioned it earlier, that video of DK Metcalf running shirtless. Like, that guy looks like an absolute tank. And, like, Penei's got a little beer belly on him, but he's still stronger than you.
He looks kind of like a little chubby baby.
That's another reason why we love him. It's like he's one of us. Like,
you ever have a guy on a team you played on, football, baseball, softball, that, like, they were a bad body guy, like, just didn't look the part, but they were probably the best player on the team, or, like, had some of this insane athleticism?
There was a kid I played with. His name was Josh Burke. He ended up going pro and played for the Green Bay Packers. But when he was, like, a freshman and a sophomore, it was just like, this kid's just a big fumbly oaf.
Yeah.
But then he just had that insane strength to where if he put a hand on you, you'd go flying.
Makes no sense.
Yeah, just some guys are just built different.
Yeah.
It's not about muscle strength; it's about ligament strength and bone structure, and it's different.
We had a guy, Michael O'Neill, actually nephew of Paul O'Neill. He was an outfielder for us. You wouldn't be able to tell that he worked out at all, but he had one of the best arms on the team, was one of the fastest guys on the team.
Yep.
Penei Sewell's kind of in that category. Maybe doesn't look the part, but, man, when you see him in person, he is a huge human, and he's just trying to get stronger because he knows he's the most important player on this team.
God, stronger.
He's going to get stronger. He's going to run over 2 bitches at the same time.
At the same
Synchronized
damn
swimmers.
time. I mean, we may move him to defensive end. That could be the move.
I think he gets a touchdown this year.
He should.
May 25th, Memorial Day palindrome. A hot take.
All right. As long as he gets another sweet stiff arm like we had last year. I mean,
Can you imagine trying
that
to
play
tackle
went
that,
for
man?
0 yards, but it was amazing.
I could watch that play over and over again.
I had a chance to be explosive.
It did. It did. Steak, we're on a show together. We got 15 minutes left, so we got to talk about Jared Goff.
Of course.
Welcome, chat.
Now the show begins.
All right, 9:15. We got 15 minutes. Get ready. If you haven't had your coffee yet, it's time. Because Jared Goff actually wasn't as disrespected as I expected on these lists, but it gave us enough to talk about here. PFF had their quarterback rankings. They're way too early quarterback rankings.
I thought you were going to talk about quarterback wide receiver rankings that him and Amon-Ra got left off. You didn't see that one?
I didn't.
Okay, I'll
that
find
might
it.
need to move to the top.
Yeah.
Send that to me too.
I'll
can
search
use that
for
for
it, but yeah.
Tuesday.
But let's deal with this.
Okay, well, so it'll lead into that
Yeah.
because the fact that those two aren't on the list, I first thought insanity. But top 32 quarterbacks broken down in tiers. Tier 1's elite. Tier 2, high-end starters. Tier 3A, solid starters who have flashed high-end play. Tier 3B, solid starters, but they need more help. Jared Goff is in at number 9 in Tier 3A,
Ugh.
solid starters who have flashed high-end play.
Who
Tier 1, Mahomes, Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. Any issues with that? In the elite tier.
I mean, weren't Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Jared Goff in the MVP conversation last year?
They were.
So wouldn't they be in the same tier?
You would think.
Okay.
You would think. I'm not going to scream at that. I get those 4 are
I mean, I get people love them, but what the hell have they won?
agreed. Tier 2.
You want to critique Lamar Jackson as hard as you critique Jared Goff? Somebody else had a fumble. Somebody else had some turnovers. Somebody else hasn't won the big game.
Has he been to the Super Bowl?
Nope.
Has Josh Allen?
Nope.
But Jared Goff has.
Yup.
I keep hearing, though, he didn't score a touchdown. He didn't throw a touchdown in the Super Bowl, though.
Set out Draymond Green
Yeah.
appearance.
But according to Demond Dice, just showing up in the Super Bowl counts for something, right?
Okay, so then
It's
Jared
just
Goff.
yeah. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, weird, right?
Yeah.
I don't think Tom Brady threw a touchdown in that Super Bowl either.
Don't tell
but-
Flannel Sam that.
Yeah, Tier 2, Jared Goff is not on either. Jalen Hurts at number 5.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels at number 6.
God, people fell in love
Matthew
with him.
Stafford at number 7. And this is the one I wanted to talk about, unless you want to go a different direction. Justin Herbert at number 8.
Yeah, Justin Herbert is... he's Phillip Rivers 2.0, wearing the same jersey. He ain't going to get it done. They're never going to win anything. He's not your guy.
Good athlete, good arm.
Great. But what has he won?
What has he won?
What has he won? Like, why do we play? Hello? We play to win the game, and Jared Goff wins more games than most people.
Yeah,
Like,
I
that's
see
all I care about.
Yeah, and I see our favorite Chicago Bears fan in the chat.
Let's hear it.
Demon Dicey says, nobody but Lions fans believe Goff is a potential MVP. He was literally, him and Kristen Goff were literally at the NFL honors. Correct me if I'm wrong. I could have been dreaming this. I used to dream this stuff. I used to NFL honors, look at our quarterback up there in the top 5. Look at our guy in the building. So correct me if I'm wrong. Was he there or was he not there? I thought he was there.
Yeah.
Well, according to this, the NFL MVP award is voted on by a nationwide panel of media members, specifically a group of 50 media representatives chosen by the Associated Press. That doesn't sound like just in Detroit. Because
No,
but
but
it
Goff
says
wasn't- they didn't vote for Goff at all,
nationwide.
right?
See, some people can't read. Nationwide.
Okay,
Is that
good.
Does nationwide mean Detroit?
All 50 states.
So that's outside of Detroit.
Yeah, yes.
Can you clarify this for me?
It is, including...
So saying it's only a Detroit thing would be pretty ignorant.
yeah, like totally not factual.
Okay.
Yeah, like nationwide, including Wisconsin and
So nationwide
Illinois.
doesn't mean local.
No.
It means of the nation.
All of them. Yeah, national.
National.
Yeah, it's Memorial Day. We celebrate the whole nation.
So it's not just Detroit.
Yeah.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glad that's cleared up.
Okay, yeah, okay, good. Good. Best offense in the NFL. I don't understand. The Herbert thing. Yeah. When are people going to move on from Herbert being a high-end starter?
And, let's be honest. Jalen Hurts, they won the Super Bowl, but, it's more of a Trent Dilfer Super Bowl, right? Brad Johnson Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts is not a very accurate quarterback. The one thing he does do well is he squats 600 pounds so they can do the tush push. I guess that adds to his value. But if Jalen Hurts was here running this offense, I'd be terrified.
It wouldn't work like their offense does. It wouldn't work like our offense does. It's good for them. Jared Goff is perfect for the Lions.
Yes.
That's why the comparison of different teams, if Stafford was in Detroit with this team, if Goff was with that team in L.A., I hate it. I hate it because Stafford would not lead this team to the lengths that Jared Goff has.
Stafford went to a team that Jared Goff built, had taken to a Super Bowl. Then they added Von Miller, OBJ. They added Jalen Ramsey. Mm-hmm. That's 3 Pro Bowlers added to a team that Jared Goff had already built. Stafford went there, lucked his way into a Super Bowl. Jared Goff came here with the rubble that Stafford left after 12 years of underperforming and has taken us to heights we have never seen.
Yeah.
I would argue if Jared Goff got Jalen Ramsey, Odell Beckham Jr., and Von Miller, he was very capable of winning a Super Bowl. So what are we doing?
What are we doing?
Stafford had 12 years. He gave us nothing.
Megatron?
He had arguably the best wide receiver of all time.
Mm-hmm.
In 2014, he had the number 2 defense in the entire NFL. Jared Goff has never had a top 5 defense.
Never.
And he still couldn't get a playoff win.
Yeah.
They want to complain about a pass interference call that was picked up. There were 5 minutes left in the game. Stafford got the ball back again with a chance to go down the field and win that game. What did he do? He did not win that game.
No.
As a matter of fact, he never won any of the 3 playoff games that But Jared Goff has won 2 of the 4 he's been in.
Yeah.
One of them, arguably, was Josh Reynolds because he dropped many passes that were right in his freaking hands. I'm not sure if we're swearing on the show or not. But yeah. So last year, we could say Jared Goff played bad. Bad day to have a bad day.
Definitely. He's as much a part of that loss as anybody.
Yeah.
But
they still put up 38 points.
Yeah, and what people don't get, where you and I are on the same page, you're not forgetting everything else that has come before that game. You're not forgetting what he's built for us here in Detroit.
Right.
This Lions team. You look at any stat, him compared to Stafford since he joined Detroit, Jared Goff has all the better stats that he does. The only thing they tie is pass yards for attempt at 7.7, but wins, yards, completion percentage, touchdown,
and
less interceptions,
last 2
all of
times
it.
they've played head-to-head, and when they play in the playoffs, who wins? Jared Goff or Matthew Stafford?
Jared Goff.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Boo them kids.
Huh. How you going to beat the guy?
I think it's
How you going to
time.
hate from outside the club? You can't even get in. How you going to root for the guy when he can't beat him head-to-head? Jared Goff took an inferior team and has now beaten a superior team, according to everybody, with a superior quarterback twice.
Yeah.
How could that be if they had the superior quarterback?
I don't get it.
Jared Goff's lucky.
Think of all those teams that Herbert had. Keenan Allen and all the guys out there in San Diego or L.A. Jared Goff was also left off the top 30 players over 30 list.
I can't believe that's even a list.
I don't mean either, but there are some studs on here. Derrick Henry, T.J. Watt,
yeah.
George Kittle, Chris Jones. There are a few at the bottom.
How about the Kittle contract at 30-plus years old?
That's ballsy. That doesn't help Sam Laporta in the Lions uniform.
Yeah, but that's why San Francisco is absolutely falling apart. You're going to take that money and give it to George Kittle instead of keeping your wide receivers intact?
Yeah. And
then you're going to pay Brock Purdy?
I want to agree with you. Because, I do agree with you, but I'm also trying to channel a little bit of the Anzalone, St. Brown. Like,
I love Kittle.
Is the 49ers.
I get it, but it's a business,
I know.
baby. Like,
you're right. I know.
You're horse racing, and once your horse gets slow, you got to make it glue and get another one. Like, that's just how this game works.
Especially at the tight end position. You see Travis Kelce's fall off with the best quarterback of all time, second best quarterback of all time.
That's only since he started dating Taylor, though. He's distracted.
True. That's true.
He's on tour. He's got a billionaire wife. Like, are you focused on football?
Can you imagine being one of the best tight ends of all time the best quarterback of all time, and your spouse or former spouse is the breadwinner?
Yeah. Speaking of breadwinner, what about Patrick Mahomes buying his wife a couple of new items?
What'd he get her?
Chest.
Oh, a couple jugglers.
Yes.
For the over-the-shoulder boulder holders.
Yeah, little fun in the off season for
running those plays with Andy Reid in the off season.
Dude, and they are just big and fake and
I'm not a fan of his wife.
no.
Although she was kind of an entertaining part of the quarterback series or whatever.
Yeah. But
I
yeah,
don't
Patrick
get it.
Mahomes made an investment. He's like, I'm gonna try to put lipstick on a pig here. Like, let's fix this thing up.
I got
fixer upper.
Apparently they've been dating since they were like high school sweethearts or something.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah, she's everything Russell Wilson's girl on draft night thought she would be.
Or
You seen that meme?
who's Will Levis? Will Levis's girl.
Yeah.
Aegis 411 says jugglers. Classic.
Jugglers. Classic.
Jugglers, classic. All right, 5 minutes left. You said last thing we'll say. Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown were left off of
A quarterback wide receiver duo, best quarterback wide receiver duo in the league.
what was it? Top 5, top 10.
It was a 10. It was a top 10 list. I was shocked. I couldn't I was like, what is this list?
How were there? Could you name more than 3?
Yeah, but the argument is, I mean, you just said it, right? Like, Goff is third tier according to this list. Amon-Ra St. Brown is second or third tier. You're telling me 2 third tiers are better?
That's all the reason why they are the best. And that's why Jared Goff needs more credit than he does.
No, don't give him the credit. Like, that's what keeps him motivated. That's what keeps him who he is. Like, to me, he's encompassed the attitude of Detroit, and I know I caught a lot of flack for saying that on Twitter, but I don't care. Like, to me, Jared Goff, and Dan Campbell reiterated it when he was on that podcast too. Like, the Jared Goff, he embolizes the resurgence.
Yeah,
like being counted out, coming back, beating the odds, being better than you were. Everybody doubted you, so like that's why I love the guy. And he's delivered me 2 playoff wins and a trip to an NFC championship and a 15-2 season and a potential MVP candidate. Stuff I'd never seen in my lifetime.
That makes me so happy to hear out of your mouth.
In my lifetime.
And the dude's about to be a dad.
Ah, yeah.
We could talk about Jared Goff for hours.
Yeah, inside Jared Goff coming up soon.
You've said that multiple times now, and it takes me a second. I look at you like, inside, inside her. I just met her.
Yeah, inside Jared Goff. That's a new podcast coming to Woodward Sports.
Stick, let's let everyone go enjoy their Memorial Day. The sun is shining. I thought it was going to be nasty all weekend.
No, it's going to be like 63 and sunny. I'm going to hit movement with my 8-year-old.
Oh, let's go.
It's going to be a fun day tomorrow. I got to go pick up some bounce houses right now. So we're going to have a good day.
Tigers played 11:35.
Yeah, get an effing win.
They scoop on the mound, set up how it needs to after losing 3 to the Guardians.
Yep.
Need that dub.
You're still 3 games up, though.
Oh, yeah. No, they're good, but you don't want to get swept by the Guardians.
No.
They should.
I'd rather get swept now, though, and then in late season.
You have a point. Scooble's not going to let that happen. I'm expecting a dub today. 11:35 down at Comerica. Stig, this was fun. Kool-Aid, this was fun. I'm glad to do this.
Broder. We never ran together. So
I know. Let's go. We'll only get better, too, right? Kool-Aid, thank you, man. Everyone who was tuning in, all 190 of you tuning in live, and everyone who's watching this back on the Woodward Sports Network. Hope you have an amazing, amazing Memorial Day week. Celebrate. Think about those who lost, who were fighting for our country. This is an important day for our country. Let's make the most of it.
Yes, sir. Appreciate everybody who gave the ultimate sacrifice, because Memorial Day is about people who died.
Yeah.
Veterans Day about people who served, but Memorial Day is a little bit deeper, man.
Yeah.
Give your life for this country, for our dumbasses to sit on a mic. We didn't have to ask anybody approval. Nope. We don't have to check to say anything we're saying is good with anybody else. That's because of freedom.
Freedom.
Gotta love it.
Gotta love it.
I do.
Everyone, think about that in between flips, in between sips.
Yeah.
Just give it
Freedom
a
to
thought.
taste that beer.
Yes.
Freedom to barbecue.
I want to go have a cold one.
Huh?
I think it's about that time. Everyone, thanks for tuning in. This was the Lions Weekly Update. We will see you next Sunday at 8.
America! Smash that like button.
Mics are still hot, guys, so be careful what you say, bro.
Hot mics.